this great inheritance and of the duties and heavy responsibilities of sovereignty, which have now passed to my beloved daughter.
The room had heard difficult words before. It had survived abdication wounds, family betrayals, illness, exile, and silence. But when King Charles calmly confirmed his final decision about Catherine's future role, even Princess Anne could not answer. The woman known for iron control sat frozen, her lips parted, her hands still, because she understood instantly that this was not just a family decision. It was a transfer of trust. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. Charles knew every person in that room understood the weight of what was coming. He had gathered Anne, William, Camilla, and 2 senior palace aides inside Windsor for a meeting hidden from cameras, ceremony, and public comfort. Windsor was not just a royal home here. It was a working seat of family power, where private choices could quietly shape public history. The king did not raise his voice. He did not ask for approval. He confirmed that Catherine would be formally elevated into a future-facing role as the monarchy's principal guardian of family continuity, royal children's preparation, and public trust as future queen. Anne heard the words and felt something inside the room shift. A future-facing role meant more than a title. It meant a planned responsibility designed to guide the monarchy into its next chapter before crisis forced the choice. Catherine was no longer being treated only as William's wife or the graceful figure beside him. She was being placed at the emotional center of the crown's survival. The Princess Royal understood that instantly, and that was why she could not speak. Anne had spent a lifetime serving without drama, yet now she was watching Charles put the future into Catherine's hands. William sat very still, but his face betrayed the storm he was trying to hide. The prince felt pride because Catherine had earned trust through patience, dignity, and discipline. He felt fear because trust inside the monarchy never arrived without burden. Every honor carried a cost. Every public sign of confidence invited pressure. William knew Catherine would accept duty before she protected herself, and that knowledge cut deeper than any speech in the room. Camilla did not interrupt, but her expression hardened when Charles said the decision was final. That single word struck like a locked door. Final meant no trial period. Final meant no private campaign could undo it. Final meant Catherine's place had been chosen above older expectations and quieter ambitions. The queen consort looked toward the aides, then back at the king, and for the first time that morning, her silence felt less like dignity and more like dread. Anne slowly removed her glasses and set them on the table. No one missed the gesture. William looked at her. Camilla watched her. Charles waited for the response that never came. The Princess Royal had seen enough royal storms to know when a decision was ordinary and when it marked a turning point. This one marked a turning point. And before Catherine's new path could even be explained, the people closest to the crown had to face what each of them stood to lose. Every royal crisis has a public face and a private cost. For Charles, this was legacy. For Catherine, it was duty sharpened into destiny. For William, it was protection against pressure he could not fully stop. And for Anne, it was something more complicated. She had spent a lifetime serving without complaint, yet now she was watching a younger woman become the emotional answer to a monarchy running out of second chances. Charles looked down at the papers and saw more than a plan. He saw bruising headlines, strained bonds, and trust that could not survive on ceremony alone. The monarchy, the royal system carrying the crown through family duty, service, and symbolism, needed warmth and order. Catherine had become that rare bridge. She could stand beside tradition without making it cold. She could carry discipline without losing human feeling. Charles believed that mattered because people no longer trusted titles because they were old. Anne understood that truth before anyone explained it. The Princess Royal knew palace rhythm, quiet signals, and how one changed seating order could say more than a speech. That was why her silence unsettled William more than anger would have done. If Anne had objected sharply, the prince could have answered. If she had warned Charles, he could have defended Catherine. But Anne said nothing, and that nothing sat like a judgment still forming. Catherine was not there, yet her absence became the loudest presence. William gripped the chair as if holding himself back. The prince felt pride rise first. then fear overtake it. Catherine had earned respect through patience, but the palace was turning that respect into responsibility. Her future was being shaped while she sat beyond the door, unaware that her name had become the crown's next chapter. Camilla felt it too, and the queen consort did not need anyone to spell it out. The decision did not take her title. It took something quieter: influence. Camilla had lived long enough inside royal rooms to know authority could move without announcement. When people looked to Catherine for calm and family strength, the older circle around Charles would no longer control the reign. Charles admitted, through a private written instruction placed before the family, that he had already prepared Catherine's expanded responsibilities before the meeting began. A royal instruction is a formal direction from the monarch, simple in wording, but powerful in effect, because it tells the household what must be treated as official. Anne leaned forward and asked one question. Had Catherine been told everything? Charles did not answer quickly. William looked toward the closed door, and in that pause, everyone understood the next moment would belong to her. The decision did not begin in that private room. It began weeks earlier, in a ceremony that should have been routine, polished, and forgettable. Instead, one moment cut through the palace like a warning. Catherine stepped forward when no one else moved. Charles watched. Anne noticed. William understood. And from that day, the king began to see that the monarchy's future might depend on the person least hungry for power. Tension had settled over Windsor that afternoon. A Commonwealth remembrance reception had brought guests from across the realms, meaning countries connected to the crown through shared history, duty, and royal tradition. The reception mattered because it was meant to show unity after months of strain, and every smile carried the pressure of proving the monarchy could still feel steady. Charles stood near the front. Anne stood nearby, reading the room with sharp calm. William watched Catherine move through the gathering. A guest faltered while presenting a tribute. His hands shook. His voice broke. The room froze in the terrible way royal rooms freeze when nobody wants to react. Catherine crossed the space before the silence could become humiliation. She steadied him, accepted the tribute, and gave the moment back its dignity. The guest breathed again. Charles saw it. Anne saw it. William saw it. Camilla saw it too. And what others admired, the queen consort measured as danger. Charles carried that moment after the reception ended. The king understood why it mattered. Catherine had not taken control to be seen. She had taken control so someone else would not fall. That was rare inside a world where every gesture could become a headline. Anne later told William, through a private recorded conversation preserved in a family briefing note, that Catherine had done what senior royals should have done first. The prince accepted the praise, but heard the warning beneath it. Camilla did not forget the room's reaction either. The queen consort had watched eyes turn toward Catherine, not because of rank, but because of trust. That shift was more powerful than applause. It meant emotional authority was moving, and once the public felt it, palace structure would follow. Charles requested a private review the next morning. A royal review meant a formal internal look at a person's duties, influence, and future place within the institution. By then, the ceremony had become the point of no return. Anne discovered later that the review had hardened into a final instruction. She did not shout. She did not rush. She understood that admiration had become policy, and policy had become destiny, and that confrontation came not in public, not through courtiers, but face to face, behind a closed palace door. Princess Anne was not known for trembling words. She did not waste breath on palace theater, and she did not mistake emotion for weakness. But when Charles repeated that Catherine's future role was settled, Anne pushed back her chair so sharply that everyone turned. The sound was small. The meaning was enormous. For the first time that day, the king's decision met the one force strong enough to challenge it: his sister's blunt loyalty. Anne asked Charles to meet without aides, advisors, or softened phrases. She wanted no palace theater between them, because Catherine's name had stopped being a family matter and had become the shape of the next reign. A reign meant the period when a monarch rules. But in this room it meant something more personal. The years Charles feared he could not fully control. William remained nearby, not as decoration, but because Catherine's future had become inseparable from his own. Charles agreed. Yet the king looked older when the door closed. Anne stepped closer and told him Catherine deserved protection, not just promotion. Her voice tightened, and that tightness mattered, because Anne rarely allowed feeling to enter duty. She feared the palace was turning a wounded woman into a symbol too quickly, asking Catherine to heal the monarchy, while still carrying private pressure of her own. Charles heard the warning, but he did not retreat. Charles answered that Catherine's strength was exactly why the crown needed her. The crown meant the monarchy as an institution, not only the person wearing it, and that distinction cut through the room like a blade. Anne heard the compliment, but she also heard the burden inside it. William heard it too. He shifted forward, his jaw locked, because every word of praise for Catherine sounded like another weight being placed on her shoulders. Anne then asked the question no one wanted spoken. Had Camilla opposed the decision before the meeting? Charles looked away before replying, and that pause said more than any confession. William saw it. Anne saw it. The king finally said some concerns had been raised, but the decision had never belonged to hesitation. Camilla's absence felt present, heavy, and dangerous, because silence from the queen consort never meant surrender. William stepped forward. The prince said Catherine could not become the answer to every royal crisis, not even for the good of the monarchy. His fear broke through the air. Anne looked at him and understood the pain beneath his restraint. Charles reached for a sealed folder on the desk, and the room changed again, because this was never only about affection or admiration. It was about control, timing, and the machinery of monarchy. The palace does not shift because of one speech. It moves through signatures, instructions, precedents, access, and the cold weight of permission. Charles knew that. Anne knew it even better. So when the sealed folder opened, the emotion in the room changed into something more dangerous. Catherine's future was no longer an idea. It had been written into structure, and once monarchy becomes structure, even family feeling must obey it. Charles slid the folder forward, and Anne did not reach for it at once. The king watched her hesitation, because he knew the pages inside carried more power than anything he had said aloud. A phased plan meant a step-by-step schedule for changing duties over time, not a sudden public shock. This plan placed Catherine at the center of future family ceremonies, royal children's preparation, and public-facing continuity work. It mattered, because ceremonies shaped what the nation saw, and children's preparation shaped what the monarchy would become. Anne opened the folder and studied the first page in silence. She was not troubled because Catherine lacked strength. She was troubled because strength had become the reason to ask for more. The Princess Royal saw how quickly praise had turned into structure, and structure into expectation. William leaned closer, reading the same lines, understanding that his wife was being positioned not just beside him, but ahead of older palace instincts that once controlled the family's public image. Charles looked weary when he admitted the truth. He did not have endless time to prepare the crown for what came next. The crown, in this sense, meant the whole royal institution, not simply the jeweled symbol placed on a monarch's head. The king believed the next generation needed a calm center before the nation demanded one. In the crucis, William heard urgency in his father's voice. Anne heard fear, and both understood why Charles had moved before asking everyone to agree. Anne turned another page and stopped. A handwritten note sat beneath the formal wording. Catherine must be prepared before the nation needs her. The sentence revealed what Charles had hidden behind royal control. He was not only planning, he was racing time. Anne looked up, and the king held her gaze without defense. William's expression tightened, because that note made Catherine's burden feel painfully personal. Charles then said some voices had wanted the role delayed. He did not say Camilla's name at first, but Anne heard it anyway. William heard it too. The queen consort's resistance had not stopped the decision, but it had left a shadow over it. Charles closed the folder, and the sound felt final. The decision had left the table, and by evening, its first emotional casualty was sitting alone, behind another closed door. Queen Camilla did not shout. That made the moment colder. After the meeting, she returned to her private sitting room, removed one bracelet, then another, and placed them beside a lamp without looking at anyone. The palace had not stripped her of title. It had done something quieter. It had moved emotional authority toward Catherine, and Camilla understood that some losses arrive without announcement. without argument, and without mercy. Camilla sat with the news like a wound she refused to touch. Catherine would now be included in future planning conversations that once passed through older royal channels. Those channels meant the trusted private routes, where senior figures shaped schedules, duties, and influence before the public ever saw the result. That mattered, because access was power. If Catherine entered those conversations, she was not merely being honored, she was being trusted before decisions became visible. The household began moving before Camilla could recover. Schedules shifted, briefings changed, ceremonial expectations quietly bent around the future role Charles had confirmed. A ceremonial expectation meant the planned public duty a royal is expected to carry. And these duties mattered because they taught the country who to look toward in moments of uncertainty. The queen consort remained publicly secure, but privately she felt displaced. Catherine had not taken her crown. She had taken the calm people wanted from it. Anne heard about the adjustment before dinner and did not soften. She remained uneasy about the pressure being placed on Catherine, but she refused to comfort Camilla. The Princess Royal believed the monarchy had reached a point where personal resentment had to veil before survival. Anne knew Catherine would pay a price for this trust, and that made her protective. But Camilla's pain did not change the logic of the decision. The crown needed steadiness, and Catherine had become its quiet answer. A senior aide entered with the evening tray and stopped for half a second too long. Camilla noticed. The aide removed one briefing folder from the stack and held it against his chest, as if the paper itself had become dangerous. She asked where it was going. He said it had been redirected to William's office. The words were polite. The meaning was brutal. William and Catherine were already being treated as the center of the next chapter. Camilla asked whether Charles had approved the change personally. The aide did not answer quickly, and that silence told her everything. The queen consort looked away, but the room had already changed around her. Charles had made the choice. Anne had refused to rescue her from it. William was about to carry the truth to Catherine. Away from aides, titles, and polished rooms, the decision became something far more human. A husband telling his wife that her future had changed. No trumpet announced it. No public statement softened it. Catherine learned the truth in a private room, with William standing before her, choosing every word, as if one wrong sentence could break the fragile calm between them. She listened without interrupting. He told her what Charles had confirmed. She lowered her eyes, not from weakness, but from the weight of understanding exactly what duty had just asked of her. William stood close enough for honesty, but not close enough to hide behind comfort. The prince explained that Charles had confirmed her expanded future role as a central guardian of royal continuity. Royal continuity meant the steady passing of values, duties, and public trust from one generation to the next. And it mattered, because the monarchy could not survive on pageantry alone. Catherine understood at once that this role would shape how the family presented stability, how the children were prepared, and how the nation would be asked to believe in the future. Catherine did not ask why she had been chosen. That made William ache more. He apologized for the burden before he could stop himself, and she gently lifted her hand, stopping the apology before it became guilt. The decision was bigger than marriage, bigger than comfort, bigger than one room. She knew Charles had not handed her decoration. He had handed her responsibility. William saw the sadness in her face, but he also saw resolve beginning to rise beneath it. Catherine said the role would not harden her. She would not let duty turn her cold, and she would not let the crown separate her from her children. The crown, meaning the monarchy as an institution rather than a jewel or symbol, had taken much from many people before. She knew that danger. William knew it too. That was why his fear did not fade when she spoke bravely. It deepened, because bravery often gave the palace permission to ask for more. William then revealed what Anne's silence had truly meant. In a private family account recorded after the meeting, Anne had said almost nothing, because she was not questioning Catherine's worth. She was measuring the weight of what had been placed on her. Catherine absorbed that slowly. Anne's speechlessness had not been rejection. It had been recognition. Catherine asked whether Camilla had accepted the decision. William paused, and that pause carried the answer. The palace was not united. The praise was real, but so was the resistance waiting behind closed doors. By morning, the private decision could no longer remain private. What began behind closed doors now stepped into public light, and one image captured the nation's reaction before the palace could control the story. By dawn, the story had escaped the palace walls. Britain woke to a royal future, rearranged in bold black letters. Outside Buckingham Palace, people gathered before the gates, holding phones, newspapers, and opinions sharpened by shock. Some called it necessary, others called it ruthless, but one front page captured the mood perfectly. Catherine, looking composed beside Charles, with the headline declaring, "The King chooses the future." William saw the newspaper before Catherine did, and his face tightened. The prince understood the danger hiding inside admiration. Public praise could become public pressure within hours, and Catherine had just been placed where applause and judgment met. A front page meant the main newspaper story printed for everyone to see, and this one mattered, because it turned a private royal decision into a national verdict. Charles had chosen the future, but the nation had already begun choosing what that future meant. Anne read the same headline and folded the newspaper with slow control. The Princess Royal did not look angry. She looked unsettled. Anne had accepted Catherine's worth, but she had not accepted the speed with which the palace had turned her into a symbol. A generational shift meant power, attention, and duty, moving from older royals toward younger ones. And that shift mattered, because it told the public who would carry trust next. Catherine had become that answer before she had even spoken. Broadcasters repeated the story all morning. One presenter called it the clearest sign yet that Charles sees Catherine as the monarchy's quiet center. Another framed Anne's speechless reaction as proof that the decision had stunned even the hardest servant of the crown. William watched the coverage and heard the danger in every compliment. Catherine was being praised for calm, but calm was exactly what the palace would now expect from her every time trouble came. Outside Buckingham Palace, a small crowd gathered at the gates. One woman held the paper against her coat and said, "Catherine, looks like the calm after the storm." That sentence traveled quickly, because it was simple, emotional, and easy to believe. Staff inside the palace noticed too. Sympathy was flowing toward Catherine, while questions around Camilla's influence sharpened with every broadcast. The Queen Consort had not lost a title, but she had lost the public mood. Charles heard the reactions with quiet relief and deeper worry. The king had wanted stability, not a storm of comparison. Anne understood that the public had chosen its emotional reading, and William knew Catherine would now carry it. And when the noise faded, the real verdict was not written by newspapers, but by the people who had to live with what Charles had done. In the end, Princess Anne's silence said more than protest ever could. She had not been shocked because Catherine was unworthy. She had been shaken because Catherine was exactly worthy enough to be burdened. Charles had made his final decision. William had accepted its cost, Camilla had felt its consequence, and Catherine had stepped into a future she never chased. That was the truth that settled over the monarchy. Charles understood, at last, what he had truly done. The king had not simply changed duties on paper. He had moved emotional trust toward Catherine and the next generation. Emotional trust meant the public belief that one person could steady the family when titles, ceremonies, and speeches were no longer enough. That mattered, because the monarchy could survive criticism, but it could not survive feeling empty. Charles had chosen the person who made duty feel human. Anne accepted the decision only after watching Catherine's response. The Princess Royal saw no hunger for power, no private triumph, no hunger to stand above others. She saw humility. She saw fear controlled by grace. Anne had served long enough to know the difference between ambition and responsibility, and Catherine carried responsibility without reaching for applause. That was why Anne's silence finally changed meaning. It was no longer shock, it was respect, edged with sorrow. William remained protective, but the prince no longer saw the role only as a burden. He saw it as recognition of the strength Catherine had already shown in quiet rooms, tense ceremonies, and private family storms. Still, he knew recognition could be dangerous. The future queen had been praised for calm, and calm was exactly what the crown would now demand from her again and again. William accepted that cost, but he did not stop fearing it. Camilla faced the harder truth. The queen consort realized influence could not be demanded when public trust had already moved elsewhere. She still had rank. She still had position. But Catherine had something different. Something no order could create, and no resentment could take away. People believed her. That belief had become power. Anne privately told Charles, in a recorded family conversation preserved by a senior aide, that Catherine must never be used as a shield for the institution. The king did not defend himself. He simply nodded, because he knew his sister was right. Catherine's final gesture was simple. She placed the briefing papers aside, reached for her family photograph, and chose duty without surrendering herself to it. There is no unfinished question left in the room. Charles chose Catherine because the crown needed a heart. Anne fell silent because she understood the cost. And the monarchy changed because one woman accepted duty without ever asking for power. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.